Um, so I'm one of the valley trappers. I do a lot of the fur bearing stuff for the reenactments that we go to. So I'll set a trap line for coons, bobcats, possums, beavers, really anything. If it walks, I'll catch it. Here are some of the traps that I use and some of the equipment that I bring out with me. Most important things on a trap line are the traps, of course. Then you have your tools, like a good pocket axe. You can use it for cutting trails or cutting some twigs to make sets on, like dirt holes and sets like that. Then you gotta have a good hammer on the trap line to pound in stakes and a good hoe to dig your trap beds and all. And on this one, it has a dirt hole attachment where making sets for predators like coyotes, bobcats, foxes, coons. You'll set your dirt hole trap up and you dig a little hole in the back to put your bait or your lure. So, you know, it'll represent a mouse hole. And the coyotes, they always come to a mouse hole because that's one of their sources of food, but then it also has that lure in it, so it'll call in a coyote or a bobcat or something. Then you have your packs. Some people use milk crates, some people use 5-gallon buckets. Mine, it's a trash can with a World War II, it's a Vietnam pack frame on it. Just they're compatible. You can do it. Same thing with the 5-gallon bucket. It's just something I can throw over my back, walk into the woods and walk out the woods. Of course, you have your different traps. This is a 110 conibear. Conibears, they were originally made for their kill traps, and they were originally made because up in Canada, about 1820, or it's around there. Fred Conibear, he wanted a more efficient trap and an easier trap to set a trap line with. So instead of footholds, he came up with this design. It's basically a big rat trap. You can press your 2 springs and open up your jaws. And you'll set your dog on that trigger and it will just stay there like that. And then with this one, it's a good muskrat, squirrel, rat, really any small game, rabbits, this will kill. And it just closes around them like that. It'll break their spine and their neck, and it'll kill them instantly. Really quick and efficient trap. You can save ammo. In a survival situation, or really anything, I'd bring more 110s and 120s than anything else. Then you're moving up. This is a 280. And you can see it's a good bit bigger than that 110. You can use these to kill coons, possums. You can use these to kill bobcats and otters and beavers, but they just have to be on the smaller side. It's the same thing, but they'll break a person's arm real easy. They're nothing to play with, and that's why we have these little safeties right there. So once you compress those springs, you can slide those safeties on, and as you can see, it'll keep that spring compressed. But you set them the same way. You just open them up, take that dog and bring it over your hairs. This one's very short. This is 330. It's a step down from the biggest one. It's a 660. All the 660s are the same height, a little bit bigger, but they're longer. So you can put those on beaver dams or bigger slides and everything. A lot of people use the 330s for beaver trapping and otter trapping. That's the most efficient way to catch them. And how you set them is the same way, but you want to make sure your springs are out of your way, so when you set it up, the springs don't fall down and you have to risk moving them and getting an arm broke or a toe. But you can press those in, bring your triggers over, take that dog, and make sure that that dog is in between your triggers. Just like that. And you just come out and it'll break open. Now it's only supposed to do that when your triggers are, these triggers fell off. But when your whiskers, they'll hang down like that or set. I ain't fooled with this one in a little minute, and that's probably why it came open like that. But that's what they look like open. 330, that's what they look like open. You can see it came down quick and fast, and that's how it kills the animal. It breaks their spinal cord and breaks the windpipe, and it's instant. Like I said before, you save on a good bit on ammo and everything. Then after you catch an animal, you'll skin them, and all skinning is for those of skinning deer, it's about the same way, but you don't cut them open. You don't field dress them first. You just cut them around the feet. You make your money cut, and all the money cut is it doesn't determine how good the rest of the hide is going to turn out, but it's just the start of it. And what it is, you start from the ankles and you work your way up to their vent, and you just pull that down, kind of like you do a deer. And then the rest of it is just you pulling. Until you get to the arms, you cut them around the wrists, and then you pull the arms out like a t-shirt. You get to your neck. Now the face, they don't use the face, but they want the face on there for
sex verification or something else?
Really they just want it on there.
Aesthetic.
Yeah, aesthetics. But and if you're selling your furs, all they really look at is from the belly to the chest, because that's what they're gonna use, and it's just one strip down the back. But you take it and you make slight cuts around the face and everything. Once you get to your ears, cut deep around the ears, so you save the ears on there. And the eyelids, you do the same thing, cut deep on them. And once you get to the nose, you cut your slap off. After that, you take it, you put it on a fleshing beam. Well, this is a stretcher, but all fleshing beam it's the same thing as a stretcher, just at an angle. You can use them. Use stretching beams as a flesher. You put your hide on, and your hide on a stretcher will look like this. It's kind of like you put it on a sock. You just put your hide over the stretcher, and you pin it down around the. You want to make sure this is good and clean cut. If it's not, you can just take a pair of scissors and cut up around it. Then you want to pin both those down, come around and pin the tail out like that. But once you get that out there, you want to make sure you get the meat, the excess fat, the saddle on it, and all the saddle is a membrane on the back there, right where you put a saddle on a horse. Take a fleshing knife and you scrape all that off until you get a good, clean hide. You can sell a green hide, and what a green hide is, it's just a bare hide. It still has all that meat and that fat on it, but those don't come for nearly as much, and you can't make nearly as much as you can with a flesh hide. Stretching boards, they come out. As you can see, these are two different sizes. Fleshing boards, stretching boards. They come from all the way about half this for squirrels and muskrats, all the way to 6 foot tall for coyotes and wolves and stuff like that. And they can get around 1.5 feet wide. Something I didn't touch on is having a gamble. This is a adjustable one, the one we made. I've skinned countless muskrats, skunks, coons on it, and we've skinned deers and wild hogs on it. It can go all the way from up close for skinning muskrats all the way far out, skin deer and wild hogs. it's really a neat toy to have, so you don't have to have multiple gambles. If you're into hunting and trapping a lot of different animals, then it's something either to invest in or to make yourself. What this is trapper's wax. Once every season, at the beginning of the season, take all your traps, take your nice propane burner, and a older pipe, or you can just buy a new pipe just strictly for it, because it'll ruin the pipe. You throw that in there with it. You throw a few of these chunks in there, and it'll melt it down, and you get some trap dye or some walnuts. You throw it in that with that wax, and you'll get a black or brown mixture. And you just take your traps, and they'll be in bundles that'll look like that, and you just dip them in there and set them out for a good day or two to dry. And what that wax does, it lubricates all the metal around the touching areas, and it'll get them faster, more slick. The dye, it just covers them up. Make sure when you set them down, you cover them up and make sure you can't see any of that metal in the moonlight, because coons are very attractive to shiny things. Really, you can set anything out, and a coon's like a little kid. It'll want to reach out and grab everything that it sees that catches its eye.
Shiny, shiny.
So we dye the traps so that doesn't happen. You want to dye your conibears, because your conibears, they set up out on a water slide, like for beavers or otters or coons, and they're just out. You'll put your fence up around it, and what a fence is, it's sticked up around, so it'll kind of funnel it in, kind of like the natives did for fish, deer, stuff like that. But you don't want to put wax on a conibear trap, because it'll go off like it did right there. It'll go off just.
Well, you use it on a foot trap, not a kill trap, a conibear trap.
Yes, sir. But you do want to dye your conibears. That's one thing. And then another few sets for your conibears. I used to do this all the time. It's quick and simple. You can build cubbies, and what a cubby is it's a wooden box with an opening in the front. And you can just set your conibear in front of it and throw some bait in the back. People use those to catch coons, possums, fisher, wolverines. They use them to catch everything. But what I do, kind of the down south, cheap and more efficient trick for me, is I take my conibear in a 5-gallon bucket, and you can recess a little slit right there. I used to do it sometimes, but then I just got tired with it, so I just got a 5-gallon bucket. And I take that conibear, now you want your conibear to be slightly smaller than the inside of your box, because let's say I did use a 5-gallon bucket with this 220. When it closes, it's going to shoot out, because it's going to hit that, and it's going to shoot out. Now, granted, you will still catch your animal, but it might not be a good clean catch like you want it to be. So you take your conibear, you set it in front like that, and as you can see, it can still close freely. But you put your bait and fall back, and you put your sticks and your leaves, your foliage over the top of it to make it look like a den. So when the animal comes through the trail, smells it, they go in there, and I'll close it around them. Some trappers, they'll carry extra traps with them already set, already compressed. So when they walk by a set like that, they can just undo your wire, pick up the trap, throw it in your basket or your ATV, and then put another trap down and wire it up to your log, and keep moving. It's quicker that way and more efficient. Another key tool to a trap line is your rifle. A lot of different people use different ways to dispatch an animal. They'll use rifles, they'll use a choke stick. Some people use a rabbit stick for them. And all a rabbit stick is you're putting it in the back of their head and it kills them instantly because it disconnects the spinal cord to your skull. And they don't feel a thing like that, but you gotta make sure you put it on the right spot. A 22, the fur bearers, they allow 2 holes, an entry wound, an exit hole, and it can't be over a 17 HMR size hole or a 22 size hole. You can shoot them in the lungs and the heart, or I just use a quick one to the head. It kills them instantly. Now, granted, it's messier to shoot them in the head because you'll have a lot of blood. If you shoot them in the lungs and heart, their lungs will fill up with the blood, and it'll still kill them. It's a whole lot cleaner. Then we can come out here and I'll set a foothold trap and show you how I'll set one for a coyote. Also, let me step up real fast. Two good things to go by if you want to get into trapping. It's the Trapping North America by Stanley Hallbaker, or Bushcraft Guide, Trapping, Gathering, and Cooking by Dave Canterbury. These are two really good things to go by for making sets, ideas for sets, and knowledge. Then we can come out here to set a trap. I'm gonna set a quick dirt hole set, and why they call it a dirt hole set is you dig out a dirt hole, and that's from where they get the name from. You take your tool and your trap with the stake. All my stakes are already attached to my trap. Some people there have separate bags of stakes and traps. It's just easier for me to bring them out. So you take your spot, you find a good spot on it, either right beside a trail or right beside a creek where you know animals are going through. You want to clear out your spot, clear out of all debris, move sticks out the way, roots. If you have roots in the ground, you can either use your trap axe or the hoe on the back side of your tool. Clear them out the way. Now, setting a dirt hole, you want to get a good idea. You want to get a good idea set of how big your trap is. How big your trap is. You want to get a good visual, and you want to dig out around that trap. You don't want to dig it too deep because you want your trap flush with the ground. Clear your hole of all roots and everything that'll get in the way of your trap. Some people use gloves because they're nitpicky about scent. I've found some animals are touchy about scent, but it's really towards the animal, because once you put that lure in the back, they're really after that lure. They've smelled humans come and go on trails and everything a lot. But about like that. And you see how it fits right in that hole, but it doesn't go too far below it or too far above it. Now you want some leeway. You want that trap, you want to be able to have enough room to put that dirt back over that trap. Cover the trap up. Take your stake, you hammer it down. I'm not gonna hammer it. You hammer your trap stake down in the middle of your trap bed, and it'll allow your swivels to, because when something gets trapped, it'll make a catch ring. That is where he's ran around in a circle, twisting around, trying to break that chain. Or then you take your trap, you take your weak jaw, and what the weak jaw is, it's a jaw you can move around. There's no force on that jaw. This is your strong jaw, because all your springs go to that side of they're connected to that side of your trap. This is a dogless. Then you take your trap, you have your pan, and it's a night latch. And what night latched is some trappers that are night latched their trap. And all it is, you take your pan or your dog and you take a file, you file it down, so when you're checking traps at night, you can make sure your pans are level, because it'll make a click noise. Let's see if I can. It's that click. It's so slightly, but that click can catch an animal at night. Because if your pan is not level, it'll make that indentation in the dirt, and you don't think anything about it, but a coyote will see that, and he'll either walk around or come to the back and dig up your lure. But that is a level trap. That's what you can put your pan cover on and your dirt right over top of it. You want to go ahead and dig your dirt hole, just so you don't mess up and put your knee or your hand in the trap while you mess up your trap bed. You just take the bottom end, your dirt hole digger. I go about 10 inches from the trap bed. That's about a coyote stand, or a coyote will stand with his front paw. If you want to go for a back leg catch, you'll set them anywhere from 2.5 to 3 foot back. And that's where most of the time your back feet will be. But I like to catch him by the front foot, because the coyote, he could be standing back there with his head over here, but he's gonna put that front paw down in front of that dirt hole. His back legs might be anywhere else. But I'll take my dirt hole and I'll just work it in there, work it around. Make it good. You want to do it at a slight angle, because when a mouse will always dig down, but he'll dig down at an angle. He'll never dig slap down, and it just makes it easier for you to toss your lure in the back. Make a good size hole, something that you like, that looks pleasing to you. And that's your mouse hole. You always want to clean out the front of it. I rub my hands through there, make it look like a mouse has been coming in and out. Make it look like a mouse has been coming in and out. If you're trapping coyotes, especially bobcats, coyotes and bobcats, they're very smart creatures. They'll notice small things. if you leave a little bit of chain out there, see that from the moonlight. I've had a bunch of my traps dug up, flipped over, or dug up and set off, and it'll either be a bobcat or a coyote, because you'll see tracks going slap away from it. Now after you get that set or dug, you're hammering your trap stake in, and then you put your trap up. You always, some people put the dog on the outside, but I always face it in. It's just whatever you prefer. Now, I left my pan covers at the house. What all a good pan cover is that wire mesh, it's garden mesh or mesh on the outside. On the outside, yeah, screens. Cut it a little bit bigger than your trap. You take it, put it over your trap, and all that does is make sure dirt or debris doesn't get on the underside of it, and it'll a small rock will cost you a catch. It'll make it to where that trap won't be able to go off. You take that same dirt that you just dug up, you work it around your trap. Just to add extra stability. Because then again, if you coyote steps on the edge of a trap and it tilts up, he's gone. So to make sure you got your trap packed down good. On the edges. Then you just take a little bit of your dirt over the top. You just want to cover up that trap and that pan cover. Now you want the lowest point of your trap bed to be at that pan. Because just like a human, it'll go the easiest route and the most comfortable route. That's why if there's an animal trail, all animals are going to use that animal trail because it's the easiest and the quickest way. No person wants to go through a briar patch, and neither does a deer or a coyote. You got your trap covered up and everything. Then you take your lure. And I throw it in my dirt hole. And all the lure is the glands from a coon or a coyote or beaver. And you put it on that. I use a paper towel or a piece of squirrel fur or rabbit fur. And I'll stuff it all the way to the back. Because you don't want that coyote digging your lure up. I'll stick it all the way to the back. Now I'll put a little bit around the edge. Didn't have it. There we go. Alright. I'll do a visual aid too. And all a visual aid is like a deer antler over the top of the back of the trap, or burnt, or a piece of wood, or a bone. Then I'll take animal urine. I don't want to say for the camera, but I'll take urine and I'll spray it on that. If you use fox for a coyote, fox pee for a coyote, coyotes hate foxes, makes them mad, ticks them off. They'll urinate over top of it.
Marking his territory.
Over marking his territory. And then they'll go for that hole. And then you just put a little bit of sticks around your hole. just for a little funnel that coyote in. Nothing too major, because a mouse ain't gonna really doctor up his hole. But where I mainly do put my sticks at, I just take some small little bitty twigs and put them around my pan, kind of pointing and telling that coyote, put your paw here. That's where I want you to put your paw. That's what it's doing. Just like a human, we don't want to step on sticks barefoot or briars barefoot, and neither do coyotes, because they walk around every day, but they also need their feet, so they're not going to step on a stick like that. And then once you back up, you want to
rough the ground back up.
Yes, sir. Rough the ground back up, make it look like you weren't there. Now, the scent's still gonna be there. Some people, they'll bring a scent killing spray around it, make sure their scent's not around. So when a coyote comes up, see if I can get a good stick. When a coyote comes up, he'll be sniffing around, and his nose will go to that dirt hole because you have your lure in the back. And when he does, he'll put his front paw down, and that's when he gets caught, and that's when he'll create that catch circle. That was just a little, that's just a little simple dirt hole set. There's a whole bunch of other sets like trench sets, trail sets, really a lot, more than I can go over in a short time.
So you use, okay, so I'm not knowing nothing about trapping. I always thought you use a food type bait. You described the mouse hole there. If you want something in there to make it smell like a mouse, or you use something that may smell like the coyote, land, or the fox. What would you do, one or the other, or is that?
It's really preference. I used to go out to like feed barns, catch mice and everything, and I used to throw mice in the back of there. You can put your gland lure in the back. It really does the same thing. It attracts that coyote.
They use foot trap mostly on coyotes, and then pine bears on them.
Yes, sir. For coyotes, foot traps are the most efficient. For the conibears, you can use conibears. Any small to large game, well, in the trap we're at large game. You can catch a coyote in a conibear. Yeah, some people do. I just don't like it.
Probably pretty expensive.
Yeah. Then you can use your foothold traps that make all the way from halves for a muskrat, all the way to size to a bear trap for catching black bears and grizzlies and stuff like that. But they go from all the way from a foothold trap like that to like in every size in between. Any questions?
I think you did a good job, Lee.
I think you explained it pretty good. We appreciate it.
Taught me a lot. Watching TV, all of a sudden this damn.
I see a lot of commercials on Facebook and TV about how these traps are inhumane, or how they hurt the animal, break the animal's paw, and all that. That's all false. You can see a lot of the older traps, for some reason they do, just for better catch. I know bear traps, back, what would it be? 20th and 19th century. A lot of bear traps they do, but it is now illegal to catch bears with foothold traps. You have to use foot snares. But you can see a gap. There's no spikes or anything. These traps, they're humane. I'll catch my hand in a trap all the time. I haven't broke my hand or fingers from a foothold trap ever. It's by law you have to check your traps every 12 to 24 hours. Foothold traps, well, live traps, 12 to 24 hours. Kill traps every 24 to 48 hours.
If you wait 48 hours, something else is going to be out there done eating what you
that's
trapped.
You want to check your traps every 12 to 24 hours. But yeah, like I said, I'll catch my hand in these traps all the time. I can still move all my fingers. It hasn't broke any, hasn't harmed me in any way. For the ones that say it breaks the animal's legs, it doesn't. Then again, why would we want something that'll harm our product, our fur, or cut it off or maim our animal? Because if we're doing this for food, it'll make the meat taste terrible from all the gaminess, from the stress, and all the hormones that is pumping through. So we want a nice, clean catch. It doesn't harm the animal in any way. The only thing that it does is that the first initial impact is like, oh crap, oh wait. Especially for me, I know every time I stick my hand in it, I'm like, oh wait, I've done this a time or two, so I sit there, wiggle my fingers and all. It doesn't harm the animal.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Levi.